Hi, Melissa from Muscle and Coffee. So, you want to be a coach, but more than that, you want to coach small children, little kids. That is awesome because in many cases, that is how a lot of children learn a lot of values like sportsmanship and teamwork and being part of a whole. So, that is very important. So you may think, okay, I want to learn to coach, and you find an accredited institution and you go for a workshop and you attend the course and you trying to upskill yourself because you want to do a good job, right? You want to instill a love of sport and competing and just growing in knowledge in the child, right? Very important. So you go on the course, and then you have people that come and they talk to you about the psychological components, the physiological components, gross motor skills, fine motor skills, open skills, closed skills, talent identification, all of those things. And then it sort of becomes overwhelming because you're like, this is not exactly what I signed up for. And then also in the context of you want to empower yourself and you want to empower children, but also you don't want, in some cases, you may find that people don't actually want to ask questions because they don't want to seem as if they don't know, even though maybe nobody knows what the presenter is talking about, and the presenter has X amount of information that he or she needs to get through in X amount of time, and they just go through a PowerPoint presentation and they give you a handout and you're trying to read and you're trying to listen and you're trying to, okay, it may become overwhelming. Very important, you need to ask questions. A good presentation is not a presentation that you are overwhelmed by the technical jargon, and the presenters themselves, they are not doing a very good job if they're not making it very simplistic and if they are not engaging with you as a learner. Let's call you a learner in that context, because even when you become a coach, when you are coaching, you want the children or the athletes, the beginners, the novices, well, generally that's where people like to start, you want them to be able to ask you a question. If they don't understand, they must have that freedom to ask you a question. So people must be able to ask, children must be able to ask, you must be able to ask, and if the person is worth their salt, they should be able to listen to you, dissect it, and talk to you at your level. Because the main thing is you need to be a person, you need to be somebody that we're talking about children athletes, that the child can speak to if they don't understand something. They must feel comfortable. You mustn't ridicule them. They mustn't feel like they are foolish when they ask you a question. And what I have learned in the many coaching courses that I have attended and in things that I have presented, basically coaching, besides you must be a person. Yes, you must have knowledge of the skill itself. You must be able to break things down in a way that the child can understand, because you are laying down the foundations for when they actually do compete. The three most important things when it comes to coaching, there are 3 F's in coaching. It's being friendly, being fair, and being firm. So when it comes to those 3 things, there are 2 out of the 3 you can play around with depending on the situation. You know, some kids are very sensitive, some kids not so much. So you can play around with how friendly you are, and you can play around with how firm you are, because some people, even people, adults, need more correction than others. They need a firmer hand than others. Sometimes they need somebody who is more friendly. But the most important thing is that you need to be fair in the way you deal with everybody, and especially with children, because children look at how somebody else is treated versus how they are treated. And as a coach, you are such an integral person, like a teacher, because you are teaching, and you are teaching them in something that they are hopefully they are passionate about, not something that their parents are trying to vicariously live through them, but it's something that they want to do. They don't have to be there, but they want to be there. And sometimes you can be the difference in terms of how well they are going to learn and how well they are going to develop, not only as athletes but also as people. And maybe you are the person that gives them that desire to want to actually stay and develop and actually can see a future for themselves in the sport that you are going to be coaching them in. So yes, you don't want to have, you want to the most important thing is that you are fair and that you create a love for the sport. And also there are other life skills that children learn when they are actually participating in sport. So when you are starting out, nobody expects you to know everything, but that is the main thing. Actually, you need to be able to relate to, and you need to be able to have some knowledge, and you need to be able to guide your future athletes, because they're not only going to be athletes, they're actually going to be people in the world. So yes, you are important, you matter, and how you behave, you are an example and you can be a role model. So till the next video, bye.